level that I have over government affairs for many years was purely because of Tim. Tim inspired a lot of us to take up the fight of the industry, to go to Washington. And you'll see a film today with some of his better moments in front of Congress. But we lost a great leader, but what he's left behind for the industry is immeasurable. So with that, I'm going to ask Bob Kovac to come up.
It's okay. I beg pardon? I need to get that Attorney General back in here. You want to meet him outside? Hi. So, anybody in this room, do you know Tim Searcy? So, you guys are the ones that knew Tim Searcy. We all knew him well. Everybody in this room that knew Tim was probably his best friend. Tim never met a stranger. When I first met Tim, I was actually a prospect. And he was quick to reverse that out so that he was always a prospect of mine, because what Tim said was, it's always better to be a prospect of Kovac's than it was to be a client. There's some truth to that. So I know that I was one of the first people in Indiana that Michelle and Ashton Searcy met, who were with us today. So what we're going to do is we're going to check this little video that the staff put together. Thank you, Chris. It was tough, I know, because we were all very, very close to Tim, and he, as I said, he was everybody's best friend, particularly mine. So this video is not going to be such an easy thing to watch, but it's also very, very cool, and you'll see why this Advocacy Award does justice to his legacy. So,
Mr. Searcy, welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Senators, thank you for giving us the opportunity to testify before you today on a matter of great importance to both U.S. consumers and business alike, the formation of a federal do not call registry. I'm the executive director of the American Teleservices Association, known as the ATA, which is the largest and only association dedicated exclusively to the interests of the teleservices industry. We are enjoying our 20th anniversary this year and represent firms involved in the industry in a wide variety of means. As elected officials, I'm certain you know how difficult it is to get a complete message delivered in a soundbite through the media. Of course, my recent time in the media has not improved my self-esteem very much, as I was recently told by a Bloomberg reporter that I'd become America's piñata. So I certainly understand what you folks must go through on an occasional basis. Our industry has grown because it is extremely effective. If consumers were not purchasing, we would not be calling, and thankfully we would not be here today. However, in addition to consumer choice and competition, teleservices has also provided jobs. In the U.S. today, 6.5 million people make a living either making calls to or taking calls from U.S. consumers.
PACE, the former ATA, and the contact center and customer engagement industries mourned the passing of Tim Searcy this past March. Tim was a giant in the profession, the former CEO of the ATA, a former PACE board member, and a strong proponent of contact centers and contact center professionals. To know Tim was to love him, respect him, and appreciate his advocacy for our profession. This was never more apparent than in 2003 during the debates and eventual passing of the National Do Not Call Registry, when Tim became an industry figurehead and primetime news expert, appearing on CNN Crossfire, The O'Reilly Factor, and Hardball with Chris Matthews, among others, after a passionate and articulate appeal before a Senate committee. His efforts to raise over $2 million in an appeal of the legislation went all the way to the United States Supreme Court. While the appeal was not successful, it cemented Tim's legacy as a champion for our industry.
Don't stop there. As a result of the chairman's broadband initiative to bring high-speed internet to every home, Accent is joining the effort in the use of the at-home engagement specialist. Our center here will have the technological capability to house a specialized facility to train and educate at-home engagement specialists, and then manage them from here using voice-over internet protocol and other tools. We're very excited to be adding an additional 2,000 jobs over the next 2 years, including approximately 1,000 at-home agent specialists across the country. Relationships are about recognizing the longevity of what it's going to mean to have engagement with the customer. So we have to recognize that if that engagement's going to last longer than a single transaction, we need to create a relationship. That relationship starts with trust. It also has to be about respect. Preference management allows us to build the trust, but to demonstrate the respect.
That we honor Tim's memory with the Searcy Advocacy Award. This annual award will recognize a PACE member, corporation, or business for its efforts in advocating for the association and contact center industry at large. The winner carries on Tim's work in fighting for its members in Washington, D.C., the rest of the United States, and around the world. This award will be given at this event every year to honor the passion and effectiveness of the people who dedicate themselves to the protection and growth of the omni-channel contact center. We remember and thank Tim for his many years of service to PACE and our industry.
Yay. And you know, if you're in this room and if you're at this event, you're here because of what Tim Searcy laid out as a foundation for the Government Affairs Committee, for the advocacy side of this industry, and he really, I mean, we owe our jobs to Tim, particularly that $2 million that he raised. We didn't win that lawsuit, but you know what it did? It brought us together, and it made us a tighter organization. And so there are a few of Tim's special friends that are in the room. Dean, you got the lump out of your throat yet? No? Can't do it, huh? Okay. Well, how about Mr. James Dance? Come on up. Jimmy's the chairman of the PAC, so while you're up here, Jimmy, talking about Tim, you could also say something nice about the PAC event.
You know, I just want to say just a couple things. You know, I had the extreme pleasure to know Tim as a personal friend as well as a colleague. He's so passionate. Anybody who spent time with Tim knew how passionate he was. But I'll share one story with you that's always great, and it always reminds me of Tim when I spend time with him. If ever I shared a new idea or a new platform or something that we'd be working on, if he ever answered it this way, sounds interesting and compelling, Jim, I pretty much knew that meant it was an absolute terrible idea. Tim was never the kind of guy that would say anything was a bad idea, but he would always answer me, and that's kind of interesting and compelling. If he answered me really simply, walk tall, hit hard, and drink all the water, I knew I was onto something. And that's what I love so much about Tim. I'm going to miss him. He was so passionate about advocacy for this industry and loved this industry with all of his heart, and he's going to be well missed. But I love him wherever he is. I know he's in a better place, my spiritual guru, and I send him my love and my shout out to Michelle. Where are you, Michelle? Oh, there you are. I love you. My best to you and your family, Ashton. Enjoy the rest of your day. Enjoy DC. We love you.
Mitch Roth and Tim were very, very close friends. I mean, like the three of us were sort of amigos at one or two or three or four times when I was drinking. Tim wasn't drinking. Mitch, sort of. So, Mitch Roth. Never, right? Never ever?
It pains me to be here for this moment. Tim was one of my best friends. I met Tim when I was my first year as the ATA's general counsel, and it was Tim's first year as CEO. And what you may not know is our very first meeting together didn't go well. Tim and I got engaged in seriously a nose-to-nose heated argument about some advice that I had provided or some thoughts that I had, which he did not particularly agree with. And it happened at the Monocle in that room. And he says, but don't worry, from this point forward, it's forgotten, and it will never come up again. And it never came up again. And from that moment grew a friendship that was very near and dear to my heart. I traveled with Tim throughout the world. Tim and I went to the Philippines, Singapore, and India together to advocate for compliance and for the call center industry. And to give you an idea, all I have to do to tell you how close we became on that trip is to let you know that our first stop was in Manila. And most people who fly to Manila fly over the Pacific. Tim and I flew over the Atlantic. And it was 42 hours door to door. And we talked about everything. We talked about family, love, faith, business, just about everything that you could think about. And it was from that moment on, I think that's really when Tim and I really gelled together, and that's really what spawned the relationship that we had. Tim always, up until literally, until his last words, his last breaths, was always very proud of the number of countries that he visited. And was it 53? Was that his count?
His count was 52, his brother's count was 53.
So I don't know where Brazil winds up, if that's counted, because from what I understand, and Michelle's laughing, from what I understand, Tim's sole experience in Brazil was trying to enter the country without a visa. And I got a text message from him saying, my cellmates seem very nice, and the guards are treating me well. And we laughed about that for a long time. But Michelle, again, Ashton, my deepest condolences. I lost a great friend, we lost a great husband, great father, great family member, and I'm very glad to see that Tim's name will live on.
So as to not turn this into a memorial for Tim, because we've already done that, I want to make sure that we all understand that there is an award presentation. And before we present the award, what I'd like to do is please invite two very, very, very special people, Michelle and Ashton Searcy, wife, daughter. Connor is in the military, so he's in Japan. So would you guys come on up? Let's showcase you a little bit. We've been hugging and kissing for 2 days. That's right. I'm going to continue to do that. That's where I'm up here. I wish we had Connor here. I mean, I honestly do. I think I was the first Hoosier that Michelle met when they moved to Indianapolis from Nebraska.
That's true.
And so we're still talking to each other. Now, that must give you some idea that I'm a pretty good guy. The other special guest, Lori, would you come on? And we'll present this award to our winner. And it's not a surprise, but it is a surprise. The person that we're going to give this to, because advocacy requires sacrifice. And as Mitch pointed out, Tim was in 52 or 53 countries, depending on how you counted them. That's a significant amount of sacrifice. And so the other people that sacrifice, of course, then, are the family. So, the inaugural, and one of the things that Mitch Roth pointed out to me a couple weeks ago, you know who the winningest pitcher to never win the Cy Young Award was? Cy Young. So, we don't want that to happen here. Our advocacy winner for this inaugural event is Mr. Tim Searcy and his family.
I think I got set up. See, I wrote some comments because I was going to congratulate someone. So now they're a little different, I guess. But yeah, okay, I'm caught off guard here. Sorry, give me a second. I'm not, many of you knew Tim. I know not all of you, but he was a pretty good speaker, and he could get up here and probably do this on the fly, and I'm not quite so capable of that. But Tim and I met on the phones a long time ago. That's how I met him. So this industry has been a part of our lives the entire time that we were together. And so he was really dedicated to this industry and very passionate about it. And so were we because of that. As Bob said, he kind of gave his life to this, and so did we. He was gone a lot, but we always knew that he had a purpose for what he was doing. And I know, thank you guys for saying nice things about him. So many of you were his friends, and as a result, kind of our friends too. And we will miss him, just like you will miss him. But you know what Tim would say? He would tell you to have fun and to keep up the fight. So I ask you to just keep doing what you're doing, because that's what he would want you to do. And okay, now I'm thinking, like, so many of you have dedicated your lives to this too and would be very deserving of this award. So on behalf of our family, I guess, Ashton here and Connor in Okinawa, thank you for honoring him in this way, for remembering him. And we're very humbled that you're giving this to us, I guess. So thank you.
Things I have to do to get a standing ovation, I swear. Thanks, everybody. I guess we're lunch, right? And it's next door? All right, so Michelle, Ashton, thanks a lot, you guys. Yeah, you did get set up, but I thought we did a pretty good job. Thank you for coming out here.